You trust this person. You tell them your plans, you share your dreams, but every time you move forward, something strange happens. A comment that discourages, an energy that weighs you down, a silence that says more than 1,000 words. And you feel it in your body, but your mind tries to deny it. No, this person loves me, they wouldn't do this to me. Well, they would. And they probably already are. Today I will show you with absolute clarity who this person is, how they act, why they do it, and most importantly, what you need to do from now on to protect yourself and retake control of your own life. If you have ever felt that something does not add up in the attitude of someone close to you, watch this video until the end. Because what I am going to reveal here can completely change the way you view your relationships and perhaps change the trajectory of your entire next year. Let me ask you a direct question. Have you ever told good news to someone and, instead of joy, felt a lukewarm reaction? Have you noticed that when you are doing well, certain people disappear, but when you are at rock bottom, they appear full of concern? Have you noticed that after talking to a specific person, you leave more tired, more confused, more insecure than before? Have you lived through that situation of sharing a plan, a project, a desire of the heart, and the person, instead of vibrating with you, came with a cold, "Is that really a good idea?" that stripped away all your motivation? If you answered yes to at least one of these questions, pay close attention to what follows, because there is a pattern, and this pattern has a name: the hidden enemy. I am not talking about a stranger. I am not talking about someone who hates you openly. I am not talking about a declared rival. I am talking about that person who is inside your house, inside your circle, inside your trust. That person who embraces you with one hand and with the other hopes you do not succeed. The one who smiles in front of you and vibrates low behind your back. The one who swears they want your well-being, but who, deep down, needs you to stay in the same place so they do not feel inferior. And before you think this is an exaggeration or an emotional conspiracy theory, let me tell you something. Neuroscience has already proven that the human brain is capable of sensing hostility disguised as affection. Researchers at the University of California published studies showing that interactions with ambivalent people, those who mix affection with hostility, activate the body's stress system more than interactions with declared enemies. Read that information again. Someone who pretends to love you and sabotages you under the rug causes more damage to your physical and emotional health than someone who is clearly against you. This is science published in a scientific journal. And if science confirms with data what many people feel in their bodies, imagine what the oldest spiritual traditions in the world have known for millennia about this type of relationship. Now I need to explain something fundamental to you before continuing. There is a huge difference between someone who disagrees with you and someone who sabotages you. Not every criticism is an attack. Not every different opinion is envy. Not every divergence is enmity. But the hidden enemy does not disagree with you openly. They do not speak clearly what they think. They do not confront. They act underneath, with subtlety, with disguise, with a smile on their face, with a mask of concern. And that is exactly why they are so dangerous, because you cannot point your finger and say, "Look at what this person did." There is no concrete proof. There is no audio, no screenshot, no material evidence. There is a sensation, an unease, an intuition that screams inside your chest, but which your reason, your upbringing, and your fear of appearing ungrateful insist on silencing. Let us now enter the most revealing part of this video. I will show you the 7 undeniable symptoms that you have a hidden enemy operating near you. And here I ask, do not watch on autopilot. Do not leave this video in the background while you use your phone. Take this information and compare it with your real life, with the real people who are around you. Because knowledge without application is just entertainment. And what I want here is transformation. First symptom. Your plans always leak or go wrong after you tell this person. You decide to start a business, tell them at Sunday lunch, and suddenly obstacles arise that did not exist before. You decide to change jobs, share the idea over afternoon coffee, and soon someone appears offering you a realistic opinion, which in truth is just fear projected onto you. You plan a trip, a move, an investment, and the moment this person finds out, things stall. In spirituality, there is an ancient principle present in various traditions that says, "A told dream loses strength." And it is not superstition. It is that when you expose your intention, your seed still germinating to someone who does not vibrate at the same level, the energy of that project is compromised even before it materializes. Envy acts like a frost over a newly planted seedling. This does not mean you need to be paranoid and never trust anyone again. It means you need to be strategic and conscious about who receives your vulnerabilities and your most sacred dreams. Second symptom. This person minimizes your achievements always, without exception. You buy a new car after years of effort, and they say, but the IPVA and the insurance are going to be expensive, huh? You pass a public civil service exam after 3 years of studying, and they comment, "I hope the salary compensates for the stress of working for the government." You lose 10 kilos, change your health, regain your self-esteem, and they say, "Be careful not to lose too much weight and get sick." Do you notice the pattern? It is never a clean congratulations. It is never genuine joy. It always comes with a reservation, a but, a shadow, an observation that throws a bucket of cold water on your celebration. This is not caution. This is not care. This is emotional sabotage disguised as a friend's advice. Third symptom. You feel drained after being with this person. Not physically tired like after a day of heavy work. Emotionally emptied. You leave an encounter with them and need hours, sometimes an entire day, to recover. You feel a sadness that is not yours, an anguish that did not exist before the conversation, a weight in the chest that appeared out of nowhere. Psychology calls this negative emotional contagion, a widely studied phenomenon where the emotional state of one person is transferred to another through interaction. And spirituality calls it energy vampirism, when one person feeds on the vital energy of another to supply their own inner void. Both fields of knowledge are correct, and both point in the same direction. This person is consuming your vitality without you noticing. If you are identifying with what I'm saying, leave a like on this video now. Because this like is not just a number to me, it makes the algorithm understand that this content is relevant and takes this message to more people who need to hear exactly this. And subscribe to the channel if you are not yet subscribed, because every week I bring content of this level here, always uniting science and spirituality to give you real tools for transformation. Fourth symptom. They seek you out more when you are doing poorly than when you are doing well. Notice this carefully. When you were unemployed, they called every day, sent messages, showed up at your house. When you got the dream job, they disappeared. When you had a serious problem in your marriage, they were there to help, to listen, to give advice. When you resolved everything and the relationship became beautiful, they became distant and stopped responding. When you were sick, they were a constant presence. When you recovered your health and started taking care of yourself, they became a ghost. This is not friendship. This is not loyalty. This is a person who feeds on your pain. They need you to be down to feel up. And the cruelest, most perverse thing in all of this is that they do it in such a subtle way, so masked in concern, that you still thank them for their presence and friendship. Fifth symptom. They plant doubts about those who truly support you. Are you sure you can trust this person? I heard something, but I don't know if I should tell you. Look, I don't want to interfere, but I don't think so-and-so is that much of a friend to you. Be careful with that person. I have a strange feeling about them. This is the classic pattern of the hidden enemy. They do not attack directly. They isolate you. They sow distrust between you and the people who are truly rooting for you. In the Bible, this behavior is described clearly when speaking of the tongue as a fire, a world of iniquity that contaminates the whole body. In behavioral psychology, it is called triangulation, when a person manipulates two sides of a relationship to maintain control in the middle and ensure that you depend emotionally only on them. Sixth symptom. When you talk about your dreams with enthusiasm, they change the subject or respond with calculated indifference. You share a vision of the future, something that moves you deeply, a project you have carried in your heart for years, and their reaction is a cold cool followed by a completely different subject. Or worse, they pick up their phone and start using it while you speak, as if your passion were irrelevant. This is not casual disinterest. This is not a lack of attention due to tiredness. It is an unconscious message, sometimes even conscious, that says, "Your dreams do not matter to me because your realized dreams threaten me." And when your dreams do not matter to someone, you can be sure your achievements deeply bother that person. Seventh symptom. They know your weak points and in the most vulnerable moments use them against you. It could be a joke in front of other people about something you told in confidence on a night of venting. It could be a veiled reference to a difficult time you went through and which you trusted only to them. It could be an "I always knew this was going to happen" when something goes wrong in your life, said with a voice of pity that hides satisfaction. This is the most destructive weapon of the hidden enemy: intimate information. The vulnerability you handed over with an open heart, used as an emotional dagger at the moment you most need comfort. Now, if you identified at least 3 of these 7 symptoms in the same person, stop, take a deep breath, and understand the following. Recognizing the problem is the first and most courageous step. But just recognizing it does not solve it. You need to understand why this person acts this way, and more, why you have allowed this until now. Because this second question, however painful it may be, is the key to your liberation. And this is where the video gets even deeper, because the cause of the hidden enemy is not just in the malice of others. It is also in an internal pattern of yours that needs to be seen, understood, and healed. Let us talk about the 3 main causes. The first cause is structural envy, and here I need to be direct with you. Envy in Brazil is a deep and rooted cultural phenomenon. We live in a society where, from childhood, we learn to compare. In school, who gets the better grade? In the neighborhood, who has the bigger house? In the family, who is employed and who is not? At the Sunday barbecue, who bought a new car and who still takes the bus? This constant comparison creates fertile ground for envy. And when someone from your inner circle begins to grow, to prosper, to shine, this activates a brutal discomfort in those who are stagnant. It is not necessarily that the person was born evil or chose to harm you consciously. It is that your growth acts as a mirror that reflects their stagnation. And instead of using this mirror as motivation, as fuel for their own change, they transform it into resentment. Envy, at the spiritual level, is one of the lowest and most destructive frequencies that exist. It literally blocks the envious person's capacity to evolve, to attract good things, to prosper. So the envious person remains trapped in a cruel, vicious cycle. The more they sabotage you, the more they sink. And the more they sink, the more they need to sabotage you so as not to feel alone in their own misery. The second cause is your need for approval. And here it hurts. But it needs to be said with love and with truth. If you have had a hidden enemy in your life for a long time, if this situation repeats with different people over the years, a part of you authorized this presence, perhaps due to an affective lack that comes from childhood, perhaps due to fear of loneliness, of being left with no one, perhaps because deep in your being there is a belief that you do not deserve anything better, that this is the type of relationship you can have. Psychologist Harriet Breaker studied this phenomenon deeply and called it the disease to please. It is when a person has such a fear of rejection, such a dread of conflict, that they accept crumbs of affection in exchange for toxic loyalty. And in the Brazilian context, this is amplified by powerful cultural patterns. The culture of "you cannot be ungrateful," of "family is sacred and we do not question it," of "childhood friends are for life regardless of what they do," of "we have to overlook it because no one is perfect." These phrases, repeated over generations, create invisible chains that bind you to people who should have left your life years ago. And as long as you do not break these chains with consciousness, the cycle repeats. The third cause is spiritual, and perhaps it is the most important for those who are ready to hear. There is a concept present in various spiritual traditions around the world that says the following. When a person is about to take an evolutionary leap, when they are on the edge of a great transformation, the opposing forces intensify. Have you noticed that every time something very good is about to happen in your life, conflicts arise out of nowhere, unexpected problems, fights that make no sense, obstacles that seem to conspire against you? This is not coincidence. It is resistance, and often the main instrument of this resistance is precisely someone who is close to you, someone you love, someone you trust. The hidden enemy, from a spiritual point of view, is a test. Not to destroy you, not to make you suffer without purpose, but to make you see where you are still fragile, where you still give power to those who do not deserve it, where your boundaries are too porous, and where you need to strengthen your internal structure before receiving the next blessing that is reserved for you. Now comes the most important part of this entire video, the one that can change everything in your life starting today, the solution. What to do when you identify the hidden enemy. And here I will give you 5 practical and profound steps. These are not generic self-help tips. They are real, tested, grounded actions that you can apply starting today. Step number 1. Stop feeding the beast with information. From now on, this person enters a severe informational diet. They do not need to know about your plans. They do not need to know about your achievements. They do not need to know about your problems. They do not need to know about your vulnerabilities. You do not need to fight. You do not need to make a scene. You do not need to give an explanation. You do not need to send a message saying you discovered everything. Simply stop delivering ammunition. In practice, in daily life, when they ask how you are, answer all good, thank God, and change the subject. When they want to know about your projects, say, I'm still thinking about some things, and divert the conversation. When they ask about your relationship, about your finances, about your plans, give vague and kind answers. This is called strategic distance. You maintain cordiality, you maintain respect, but you cut off access to your inner world. And pay attention to what will happen. When this person realizes they have lost access to your life, the mask will begin to fall. They will become uneasy. They will insist, they will ask more, they might even become aggressive. And then you will have the final confirmation of who they really are. Step number 2. Observe without reacting. This is the most difficult step of all, but perhaps the most powerful. When you stop reacting emotionally to the provocations of the hidden enemy, they lose power, because what they want, above all, is to destabilize you. If you do not destabilize, they are left without ground, without fuel, without control. The practice here is simple but requires discipline. The next time this person makes a comment that bothers you, instead of responding immediately, instead of justifying yourself, instead of counterattacking, just observe. Observe what they said. Observe the intention behind the words. Observe how your body reacted. Observe the emotion that arose and keep that information, not to use against them, not to throw in their face later, but to strengthen your internal certainty that you are dealing with someone who does not deserve emotional access to your life. In the Stoic tradition, this is called the sacred pause. In Eastern spirituality, it is called emotional detachment, and in cognitive behavioral psychology, it is called restructuring the automatic response. All point to the same place. Whoever controls the reaction controls the situation. Step number 3. Strengthen those who truly support you. Do you know what happens when you spend too much energy trying to understand, please, or manage the hidden enemy? You neglect those who truly love you. That friend who sends you a message out of nowhere asking if you are okay without wanting anything in return. That relative who truly vibrates when you achieve something and makes a point of celebrating with you. That colleague who recommends you for a position, who defends you when you are not in the room, who speaks well of you behind your back. These people exist in your life, but perhaps you are not giving them the attention, the affection, and the reciprocity they deserve. From today, invert the equation. Spend less emotional time with those who drain you and invest more time, more presence, more gratitude with those who fill you with energy and light. If this content is making sense to you, if something here touched a point in your life, write in the comments the word awakened. I want to know how many people are truly waking up and applying this in real life. And read the other comments too. You will be surprised by how many people are going through the same situation as you, and this communion, this recognition that we are not alone, is already a powerful form of healing. Step number 4. Work on your self-esteem from the inside out every day without exception. As long as you do not believe truly in the depths of your soul that you deserve good things, that you deserve true love, that you deserve success and prosperity, you will continue to attract people who confirm the opposite belief. This is not empty motivational talk. It is applied neuroscience. The reticular activating system of your brain, a network of neurons that functions as a reality filter, selects what you perceive in the world based on your deepest beliefs. If you believe you do not deserve to be truly loved, your brain will filter evidence that confirms this and will ignore, literally make invisible, the evidence of the contrary. That is why you need to reprogram this belief at the root. And how is this done? With conscious and intentional repetition. Every day, before sleeping and upon waking, say to yourself, preferably looking in the mirror, I deserve true relationships. I deserve people who root for me with a clean heart. I deserve the good that is coming in my direction. I am worthy of love, respect, and abundance. It may seem too simple. It may seem like nonsense, but the consistency of this practice over weeks and months literally reconstructs the neural connections that define how you see yourself, how you position yourself in the world, and what type of person you attract near you. Step number 5. Release with gratitude, not with anger. And this is the step that separates those who truly evolve from those who just exchange problems, those who change cycles from those who repeat the same cycle with different faces. When you discover that someone close, someone you trusted, is a hidden enemy, the first natural reaction is anger, hurt, deep disappointment, a desire to retaliate, to expose, to make the person feel the same as you felt. But I ask you with all sincerity, do not enter that game. Anger binds you energetically to the person. Revenge creates a karmic bond that pulls you down. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to get sick. Forgiveness, on the other hand, sets you free. And forgiving does not mean accepting them back. It does not mean pretending nothing happened. It does not mean being a fool. Forgiving means saying with firmness and consciousness, I recognize what happened. I recognize the pain this caused me. I choose not to carry this weight in my soul. And I move forward stronger, wiser, and more protected. In spiritual tradition, releasing someone with gratitude for the learning, however painful it may have been, is the act of greatest power a human being can perform. Because you are saying to the universe, to God, to life, I have learned the lesson. I have absorbed the teaching. You can send me the next level, because I am ready. And this is where I need to tell you something that perhaps no one has told you with this clarity. The fact that you are watching this video at this exact moment is not a coincidence. It is not chance. It is not an algorithm. You were guided here. Something inside you, a wiser, deeper, more connected part, already knew that this situation needed to be faced, and now you have the tools, the consciousness, and the clarity to act. But tools without action are useless. Consciousness without practice is just theory. So I am going to propose a concrete challenge to you. In the next 7 days, apply step number 1, informational diet. Drastically reduce what you share with the person who came to your mind while watching this video. Do not fight. Do not explain. Just close the tap of information. Observe what happens. Observe how they react when they realize they have lost access. Observe if they seek you out more, if they become insistent, if they become irritated, if they become indifferent. Each reaction will give you valuable information. And after these 7 days, come back here and tell me in the comments what happened. I read every comment. And your experience might be exactly what another person needs to hear to have the courage to act as well. I need to close with something I consider the most important truth about this entire theme. The hidden enemy only has power while they are hidden. The moment you see them, they lose strength. The moment you name what is happening, they lose the mystery. The moment you act with consciousness and firmness, they lose control over you. You were not made to live surrounded by people who root against you while pretending to root for you. You were not made to carry the weight of relationships that diminish you, that drain you, that keep you small. You were not made to grow, to shine, to prosper, to realize everything that God, the universe, life, whatever you call this higher force, placed in your heart as a purpose. And no person, no matter how disguised they are, no matter how skilled they are in the art of manipulation, can prevent this unless you allow it. And after everything you heard today, I am sure you will no longer allow it. So today, here and now, I make you an invitation. Choose to protect yourself, not with walls of indifference, but with sharpened consciousness, not with paranoia that isolates, but with discernment that selects, not closing the door to everyone, but choosing with wisdom, with clarity, and with self-love, who deserves to be in the front row of your life, who deserves to have access to your dreams, to your tears, and to your heart. If this video touched you in some way, share it now with someone who needs to hear this. Send it to the family group, send it to a friend, send it to that person you know is living exactly this situation. Sometimes, the person who most needs this content is someone who is by your side at this moment and cannot see alone what is happening. Subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and meet me in the next video. Because what comes next is even more revealing, deeper, and more transformative. You were chosen to hear this today. This message did not reach you by chance. Now the question that remains is, what are you going to do with what you learned? See you in the next video. May God bless you, protect your steps, and illuminate every decision of this new phase of your life.